Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. Today I wanted to talk to you about personalizing the behavior of others. This is something that pathologically narcissistic people have a huge problem with, and sometimes non-narcissistic people have trouble with it as well. Personalizing the behavior of others is when you assume that the motivation or reason for someone else's behavior is yourself. One of the things that is reiterated on this channel is that the behavior of the narcissist is not personal. It really isn't. It's about them, not anybody else. This is often hard for other people to understand or accept because there's so much pain involved. Our own sense of self-preservation and our own sense of ego screams out that it must be personal because it hurts us. And it is personal to the victim. It's ego that makes us feel that it must be about us. This isn't a bad thing in and of itself. It's how our self-defense mechanisms keep us safe. However, it can also make us believe we have more influence or importance in the situation than we actually do. This causes more pain in the end. This is the reason why narcissistic people have such a hard time with this type of thing. Their ego is so dysfunctional and so all-consuming that it creates the idea that everything is about them or to them or for them or because of them. They're not able to separate their experience or feelings from anything because of their inability to separate the self from external objects. It's all about how it affects them, and if it affects them, they believe it must be for them or because of them. The idea that people have their own feelings and their own motives that don't include them usually does not occur to pathologically narcissistic people. They simply assume that the motive for all things is themselves, whether it affects them directly or indirectly. Now, this isn't to say that people don't do things purposely to hurt or upset others. They definitely do. But the reason behind it is still more to do with them than the other person. If you go up to 5 different people and punch each one of them in the face, you're going to get 5 different reactions. One person might cry, one might laugh, one might call the police, one might hit you back, one person might pull out a gun and shoot you. This is because a person's behavior is a choice they're making based on the kind of person they are. The person doing the punching is responsible for that, but the other person's reaction to the punching is on them. Now, most people would say that if you go up to somebody and punch them, you would deserve what you get, and that might be true, but it's still their choice, what they do in response. Justification doesn't eliminate responsibility. If you punch someone, you own that. That was your choice. If someone punches you back, that's their choice. They own that. We often hear people say, you made me angry, you made me do this, you made me do that. This is not the truth. How we react to things is a choice. That may be one of the biggest differences between pathologically narcissistic people and those who are not pathologically narcissistic. They do not seem capable of taking responsibility for the fact that they are choosing to behave the way that they are. This is one of the reasons that it's so hard for them to change anything. They're unable to own it. Ironically, for people who want control over so many things, they completely abdicate control over their behavior and their emotions to other people. Through personalizing the behavior of others, they achieve the justification they need to relinquish responsibility for their actions. They feel attacked continuously and justify their abuse as self-defense. As far as they're concerned, they bear no responsibility for how they're behaving because the other person has caused the whole thing. The ego is wounded, they feel inadequate and imperfect, and they believe they must retaliate in order to protect their ego and ultimately themselves. Of course, the bigger problem is that because of their inability to understand that not everything is related to them, and because of their own projected self-hatred, narcissists often fail to realize that they're not actually being attacked. Their behavior may be justified in their minds, but it is not justified to other people. It looks unreasonable, mostly because it is unreasonable. Even if someone has slighted them or been rude to them, often their reactions are disproportionate to the offense. They come at people with both barrels, attempting to destroy people for little things that may be very overblown or even things that didn't even happen. This is because the threat has been so magnified and the personalization so strong and deemed so malignant. Mistakenly leaving a narcissist out of something because you have other things on your mind, for example, is interpreted by the narcissistic person as a blatant and purposeful, vengeful attack on their self-worth designed to make them feel rejected and humiliated. As you can see, these two things are very different. One is a simple mistake, and the other is a cruel and intentional act designed to hurt somebody. This is what personalizing the behavior of others can lead to. One of the biggest lessons we can learn from narcissistic people is that personalizing the behavior of others is not only inaccurate, but it's unhealthy and it only leads to more pain. We are responsible for our own behavior and others are responsible for theirs. That's it. Our actions are a choice, regardless of the provocation. When someone is cruel to us, it's often our first reaction to believe that we've caused that it's about us. The truth is that other people's behavior is about them. Our behavior is about us. So much of what we do is a habit, and this is just really no different. Behavior is a choice we are making, and we can choose to do something else, to react differently. It may take time to get into a new habit or a way of being, but it's absolutely possible, and ultimately, it's worth it. Don't set yourself up the way that so many narcissistic people set themselves up. Don't abdicate control of your emotions and your behavior to other people. Take control of that yourself and be conscious of the fact that it's a choice you're making. Because once you accept it's a choice you're making, you can make a different choice. I hope this clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. Don't forget, I am now taking appointments one-on-one. If you'd like to schedule an appointment with the Little Shaman, visit littleshaman.org and hit the bookings tab to go ahead and set that up. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, the Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.